live now. I think this is the fourth Beneath the Surface Water Safety Live with guests. And I am joined by Duncan Spears from, is it Spears?
Yes, it's Duncan Spears from Christopher Saving Lives campaign.
Duncan from Christopher Saving Life campaign.
Lives campaign.
And you're a water safety campaign based up in Scotland, in Glasgow?
Yeah, we're in Glasgow. We're based in Glasgow. We just run everything from the house. We campaign. So sorry.
we have a lot of followers in Scotland, so I thought it would be good to have a water safety campaigner from Scotland on. And your campaign is Christopher Saving Lives. Do you want to tell us about who Christopher is and what Christopher's story is?
Yeah. Christopher was our son. We started up the campaign in 2016 after we lost our son at an accident at the Clydeside. He was making his way home from the top of the town to the bottom of the town. Unknown to him at the time, the bridge he normally crossed was cornered off. It was a stormy night in 2016, and it was January, I think it was 29th, round about there. And he was making his way home, as I says, to that bridge, to get across that bridge. He came upon the bridge. He didn't know the bridge was cornered off. There was police in attendance. The time he got down to the town and the bridge, he was absolutely soaking wet. He asked the police 3 times, could he get across through the cordon, and they says, no, you can't go that way because the bridge is cut off. As I says, the fence was already erected. And so he spoke to them 3 times, and then he made another attempt to speak to them again. But they says, sorry, you can't go this way. So they says, go another way. But Christopher had a wee drink in him because he'd been out all day. Well, we'd been out all night. And he spoke again to the police. The police says no again. He stood at the railings at the Clydeside. The police had turned their back on him by this stage. He spotted a gap between the security fence and the bridge. So what he had to do was had to climb over the fence and he tried to swim along the wee narrow edge, the water's edge. Slipped, lost his footing, slipped, managed to grab the bottom rail and shouting for help. But this time the police had heard him and they were trying to get to him. They were only 2 feet away from him, but couldn't get him because of the cordon was there, put in place. And so one of them tried to pick the Harris fencing up and he couldn't do it. The other one ran round and was looking for a rifle and finally got one, but at this stage Christopher had been into the water and he tried to fling a life ring out, but he couldn't get to him and he was swept away. So it's horrendous for us. I mean, we were left wondering what was happening. We didn't know anything about the accident. Obviously, it was one of his friends had come up the next day and said to us, Christopher hasn't turned up for work. It wasn't like him. He normally would turn up for work no matter what. If he was drunk the night before or whatever, if he was out drinking, he would turn up because he was a key holder. And he never turned up. So one of his friends came up, as I says, and asked if we seen Christopher. We were like, no, we haven't. What's up? Christopher hasn't turned up for work. And so we started going through all his contacts and things like that. And then I think it was going into the second day. I think it was. The police had trapped the door. I wouldn't any of us could find him. The police had trapped got his ID off his body and trapped our door and came in and they says to us, excuse me, they says to us, like, Christopher answered the door and he says, does Christopher live here? I says, no, Christopher not living with us. He had a flat over on the other side of the river. That's how he was going to cross the bridge. And he says, we've got some news to tell you about him. He lost his life. And that's what told us. That's what told me at the door. Because I says, look, what's up? And then that's when the news broke about Christopher. That's the reason why we found out. You know, it's hard. It's hard on us because it feels like if our hearts have been ripped out, trampled on and put back in, it's horrendous. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. Christopher was only 28 when he lost his life. Done a stupid mistake, paid with his life, and we left with the consequences. And that's why we started up Christopher Saving Lives campaign.
Yeah. And what is the work that Christopher Saving Lives campaign does? What?
We campaign for water safety across Scotland. We campaign for ropes on life belts, specialised rope. This is a rope. This is it. It's got a sleeve on it. It's named after Christopher. It's in memory of Christopher Spears. So we try to get this on as many lifebuoys as we possibly can. Because when Christopher had his accident in 2016, there was no ropes on the life belts. Not at all on the Clyde side. There hadn't been for the late 70s because of vandalism and the cost of replacing the ropes. So we set up the campaign. We went down to see what we could do safety-wise down at the Clyde, and we had a look about it, and the things that came to mind was there wasn't any ropes on the life belts, so why wasn't there any ropes on the life belt? So we started campaigning for ropes on life belts, as well as warning signs and things like that. So we campaigned hard for that. You know, we've been successful at the Clyde side. We got the ropes put on the life belts at the Clyde. They are now in place, and I can let you know, as we stand today, we're aware of it saved 10 people's lives so far. That's just in Glasgow. So
But that's amazing work. That so if any of our followers in Scotland are around the Clyde area and they see a life ring or buoy with a rope, that is why, and they have saved 10 people's lives.
yeah, 10 people's lives. We know that because somebody I know got his information and was telling us about it. You know, and something bad, something good's come out of something bad, because that means 10 people's come back to their loved ones, which obviously we'd never got ours back. You know, and the rope is a multicoloured rope. It's got three colours in it. The purple's to represent Christopher. His was an accident, and the orangey red colour is to represent suicide awareness, and the yellow's just a bright colour. So it's in memory of him. That's it, because we campaigned in the Glasgow City Council to get it done. And there's only one manufacturer in Britain that makes this rope, this colour, and that's Ibex Marina. They're based in England.
Right. Basically, what you've done has, in Christopher's memory and legacy, has had a huge impact on other people and their loved ones being saved. So that is an incredible legacy. It's it must be a very emotional thing, and to talk about it so often. Is what made you decide, and when did you decide that you wanted to set up the campaign?
We decided about 4 months after the funeral that we were, as I says, we went down to look at the Clyde to see what we could do. And so we sat and thought about it, and then it just came as a Christopher Saving Lives campaign. Let's name it after Christopher. So that was the debate we had in the house. And me and my wife, it's only the two that run the campaign. And so we started up in 2016, just no long after Christopher. But we knew that we had to do something. We wanted to try our best to improve safety, water safety at Clyde.
Yeah, to help other people and like I say, it's a huge legacy in Christopher's memory, and you've seen results, which is an incredible thing. Is this your full-time job, yours and your wife's? And if so, how do you, if it's not your full-time job, how do you fund what you do? It must be a lot of
This
pressure
is,
for two of you just to run the campaign.
yeah, it's, but I do it full time. My wife works. We don't get any funding. We fund ourselves. Anything we need, we get ourselves. We fund ourselves. You know, we're lucky enough to be in the position that we've got some money that we can buy equipment with and hand it out. We have we have handed them out. We've life belts up at Liss in Loch Lomond. The reason being is we went up there. We took Christopher up there as a kid when he was a kid, so we wanted to extend it. And we've been to different councils and things like that, and spoke to them about getting the ropes rolled out. So we've got quite a few councils now. So
So
we're self-funded.
it's self-funded, and it started off on the Clyde in Glasgow,
Yep.
and you've spread out and gone to other councils and other areas to have life-saving equipment put in place. Is do you go speaking to schools and clubs like that, or is it mainly councils and places to try and get life-saving equipment in place?
We went to Holyrood, which is the Scottish Parliament, and spoke there. Spoke about it in there to try and get try and get funding for water safety, because that should be priority. No matter what, water safety should be priority, especially when we live in an island surrounded by water and inlets as well. And so we spoke about it to the MSPs. We had a drop-in session for half a day, which 22 MSPs came in to see us. We were in Scottish Parliament, had a room booked. They came in, we gave them packs, sent them home with packs about our campaign and what we've done and what we're doing. I have now started going around community centres, speaking to youths about water safety, and we spoke about it in there and made sure just to tell them what the hazards are of water and things like that. I spoke to them, told them Christopher's story, told them why the rope's there, told them a bit about why they shouldn't get in the water and things like that. You know, and it's just one of the things you've got to do. You've got to speak to the kids at a level that they understand. You know, you've got to go down to their level and speak to them like you want somebody to speak to your kid, and so they can understand. That's what I'm doing at the moment. I have got a meeting coming up where 10 volunteers are going into the Scottish Fire Brigade, the Fire Brigade, the Fire and Rescue, sorry. We've been invited in there to do a talk to them. It's going to be a multi-agency thing. So we've been invited into that. So that takes place this month, the 20th of this month. So fingers crossed that everything goes okay, you know, and we can get the word out there and we can let them know, let them see the rope. We show them the rope and we discuss everything. I don't sugarcoat anything. I just tell them the way it is, what happened to Christopher, and that's what we do. That's, as far as I'm concerned. You're better telling them straight rather than going about things differently.
Yeah.
You know, it depends what age group you're talking to. I generally talk to teenagers. So I had three sittings in the one night, coming in 3 different age groups, in a youth centre. So I spoke to them the 3 different age groups at different times. So I was there for 3 hours, giving the speech to one group, and then they would go away, and then come the other group, spoke to them, they went away, then the older group would come in, so we spoke to them. I spoke to them, but I could get into more length discussion with them and ask them if they had any questions for me or anything like that. So they gave me quite a few questions. so they wanted a few answers, you know, and I gave them, so they were quite happy. You know,
Yeah.
what came up out of it was I was telling them about cold water shock when Christopher went in. Although he was drinking and he was already cold, beginning into the water made the shock worse. Him falling a bit of distance, and he the cold water shock got him as well. Excuse me, as well as obviously drowning. Cold water shock caused that, and getting swept away. We were one of the lucky ones at the Clyde side because the Clyde's quite a raging river. It's not just your normal river, you know, and it runs through the heart of Glasgow. So it's a big open water. And we were lucky because some people didn't get their kids back to, days or months later. So we were lucky that we could manage to get him. On that night, as I says, there was a storm, and lucky enough for us that he got caught up in a tree which had blown down. He got caught up in the tree, so they knew where he was, but they couldn't get to him. You know, I had to wait, and the whole emergency services came out. Like I says, the police tried to fling a life buoy out to him, but missed him. There was other police at the other side trying to fling in rope, throw lines, sorry, to him, but they couldn't see because it was dark, you know. And so this is what I tell them. I say, look, this is what's happened to Christopher. This is the story. This is how hard it is on us, because it is hard. And my heart goes out to anybody that's lost somebody to water. Because we're left, it just feels like if you're left alone, there's nobody there you can speak to. When we started up the campaign, there was nowhere for us to go and speak to anybody about it, because we didn't know where to go, we didn't know where to turn. But we've got there in the end. We've got there. I didn't know much about water safety at the beginning. I mean, before we started up the campaign, to tell you the truth, I'd walk past a life buoy, and if it wasn't there, I wouldn't have took much notice. But see now, I look and I make sure that the life buoy is there if it's supposed to be there. If it isn't, find out who puts them out, get to them, tell them that it's been moved or whatever. You know what I mean? So we've done a lot in 9 years. This is the 9th year you're doing Christopher Saving Lives.
Yeah.
So,
And like I say, we are an island nation surrounded by water with many miles of inland waterways and lakes and quarries and things like that. Do you feel that there's enough funding for water safety and water equipment, considering we're never far away from water?
no, there isn't any. As far as I'm concerned, there isn't enough funding. There should be more funding put in for water safety. When we started in 2016, there was only 3 water safety groups that we knew about in Scotland. Was Glasgow City Council, Dundee, Aberdeen, and Dumbarton. That was only 3. Now, since we started our campaign and going to Scottish Parliament and seeing different people, now all the local authorities have got pause groups, what they call pause groups, but it's water safety they do. But I don't think there's enough put into the safety equipment that there should be. There should be more done for water safety in Scotland. As a father who's lost somebody to water, you can't put enough money on it. You've got to put money in. There's got to be enough there set aside for water safety and water safety only. Ring fence it, what they call ring fencing money. That's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And that's what I think they should be doing.
And you said about the understanding of your water safety and the risk of water. What was your understanding of the dangers of water and water safety before what happened to Christopher?
I never knew anything about water safety. I'm telling you the truth, I didn't even know a first thing about it. Just I've learned quite quickly. I've had to learn how to do it. So I'm saying this quickly, it wasn't because it was 9 years. It's 9 years, and I'm still learning. Everybody's still learning. You never say that you've not learned enough because there's always something crops up. I wasn't sure about water safety, what to do or anything like that. We got taught swimming in the school when I was at school, but apart from that, there was nothing. There's nothing they never taught us anything. And through my life, I've not took any interest until this happened to Christopher. And then that's when I've really, really started to look into things.
I think that happens a lot. We do hear that quite often, that people don't realise how many people actually drown until something happens to them, and then all of a sudden it's very it stands out to them then. Was Christopher a good swimmer then? Did he learn how to swim, and what was he able to swim?
Christopher was a good swimmer. Christopher was a strong swimmer. Christopher used to go into the baths and swim outside as well on open water. So he was used to it. He was used to it. He learned quite quickly. I hate to use the phrase, but he took to like a duck to water. He liked swimming. He obviously didn't understand water safety as in water safety, but he knew how to swim. He was a strong swimmer and used to go to swim pool. And as I says, he swam outdoors, so there was no crossover. Like if you learn in a pool, you know that temperature of that pool's going to be same all year round. Whereas outside in open water, it can change. And the depths can change quite quickly. And he was a strong swimmer, and I was surprised what happened to him that night because he was such a strong swimmer.
Yeah.
It's made me think twice about things, and just wondering why it happened and why us, why, everything's up in the air at the moment. I mean, you come back down to earth with a bump. And like I said, Christopher was a good swimmer. He could swim. There's no denying that he couldn't swim.
Yeah. Confined water, which is swimming pools, compared to open water, is a huge different kind of conditions. And just to clarify that, on that night that Christopher sadly lost his life, the conditions were quite bad, and emergency services were there on scene at the time and did everything possible to try and rescue Christopher, but was unable to do so with the conditions.
That's right. It's because of the conditions as well. I hate to say this. One officer says he'd been in the wrong time of the year. Saying that to somebody that's lost a loved one to water, it blew my mind. And I tried to say to him, but what do you mean by that? He says, just the wrong time of the year. But that night was a stormy night. I think it was the first named storm. I'm not sure about that in 2016, but it was a bad stormy night and it was really, really cold. Really cold. Like I says, there was a bit of the building had come down across the road. It blew onto the road. So the cordon was put there to save anybody from going on the bridge. I should have said that at the beginning. It was to save, they were scared in case the bit of the building had come down, bit of the roof building had come down. They were scared in case it blew across onto the bridge. So that's why the cordon was round there, and just to save anybody from walking across the bridge. So, but unknown to us, and at the time we didn't know, but as we got to know things, that there was a couple come from the other side of the city, the other side of the water, and crossed the bridge, and the police let them through the cordon. So Christopher spoke to them, but I don't know what he said because the police never asked them. We were really worried about that, but I can imagine him saying like, "Can you get across that way?" Do you know what I mean? So that's put that in his mind that there's nobody at the other side to stop him, and he wants to get through the cordon, and it's a hard one to take, and yeah, it's really hard. It's a hard one to take. You've lost your son. You've lost a loved one to water. And there's nothing, like I says, there's nothing in place for people like us. We're left wondering why and how and things like that. But the campaign's helping me. If I never had this campaign, would I be here? I don't think so. And that's the God's honest truth. And I'm being truthful with everybody. Everybody I speak to, that's what I say. So campaigns give me the drive to keep going in his memory. He's keeping us going in his memory.
Yeah. And as you say, your campaign has helped save people's lives. So that is it's definitely a very worthwhile thing to be doing and to carry on, and you should be very proud of that. So we mentioned that Christopher was on a night out, possibly had a few drinks, I believe you said. Studies have shown, and Portsmouth University did a study about it, that there's a lot of young men, especially around Christmas time and other periods, holiday periods like that, they do lose their lives to water on nights out. So why is that?
I really don't know the answer to that, but I can imagine that because they've been drinking, that they fool around next to water or wherever they are, and maybe stumble in or whatever. That's the only thing I can think of. And in Christopher's case, he done a stupid mistake. He mistakenly went over the fence, and maybe other people do that or next to water and think, oh, I can go stand here and maybe lean too far in and fall in. And what we say to people, what I say to older ones is, please, when you are at a night out, please make sure that there's nobody alone next to the water. Make sure you go home together. If somebody has to go home next to the water, make sure you stay as close, as far away as the water you can. Stay to the other side of the water. And we say to friends, just make sure that they get home safely, even if they're talking on them, even if they've seen them 5 minutes, make sure that they're on the phone and they're talking to you. Make sure that they're walking home fine. I know everybody's got busy lives and they forget and things like that. But I'd rather give somebody a phone call to make sure that they were okay getting home, rather than a friend turning around and saying, well, he went that way and that he entered the water, maybe tripped or something like that. I don't know. But
Definitely.
we put the older ones to be careful around water and not to carry on, not to have any bravado or anything like that, or what we can do and stand on top of walls or anything like that. Don't do that because it's not worth it. It's not worth it because you could easily slip in. Christopher done it. Christopher slipped in. He made a mistake. He paid the ultimate price for it. I don't want anybody else making an ultimate price for that. So, yeah, to older ones, I would say that to them. Just make sure. And if you're in a group, just make sure none of you are carrying on next to the water. Make sure that you are safe. Make sure there's enough room for you to walk together. Even if it has to be behind each other. Just, and don't like kid on, you're pushing each other because you could fall in, and just make sure that you're safe.
Yeah.
That's one thing I
I
can
think it
think of.
was it RLSS that did a be a mate campaign,
Yep.
and make sure that your mate gets home safe. If you can, then avoid walking along waterways. We all have a bit of a joke and a bit of a laugh, maybe, especially on a night out, but it's not necessarily going to be safe. And then, well, if you dare people, and if
I know.
you want to try and entertain your friends, and things like that. And I think it comes down to, on a night out, maybe with alcohol, possibly recreational drugs for some people, that it comes down to an impairment of judgment and maybe a false sense of security and confidence.
Right. You're right there. You're right by saying that. I mean, like, Christopher wouldn't have done that if he never had a drink in him. I know he wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? He'd have went the other way. He'd have went the other way that the police were trying to tell him. And to get back to the point we were talking about other older people, you're right. They should go another path away from the water if they can. Just make sure that he's taking an alternative path, and just make sure that he's get home okay, and just make sure that he's all fine. And yeah, just don't carry on and things like that. And drugs do time your judgment. Your judgment's out. So what people that's with them, if they've not had anything apart from drink, just make sure that they're safe as well. Just make sure that you stay tight together when you're walking. You
Yeah.
know, and take the other alternative route. That's
Yeah.
only the advice I could give. Take the other alternative route if there's one there, please.
The other thing we mentioned was the cold water shock, and we know that alcohol and recreational drugs, they can affect a person's body temperature, which can also affect cold water shock as well.
Mhm.
So they can have a effect on certain things like that.
Mhm. It can, because Christopher that night, I think that's what he had, a drink and a good drink, because he was at a nightclub making his way home, like I says, and I think that was a contributing factor in his. Um, just I've seen the CCTV the s- from the start, with Christopher's accident to the end. I've seen that myself. I've seen that because the reason being I've seen it is because the police were getting investigated because there was a death while they were on duty. Um, the police investigation unit had to investigate to make sure they've done nothing wrong. And I went to Procurator Fiscal's office and sat and watched the CCTV. I had to see it. I had to see it with my own eyes. Not something I'd recommend anybody doing. But being a dad, yeah, I had to make sure that I had to go down and see for myself. That's how I know quite a bit about what's happened, because the police told us when they came into our house what happened to Christopher and how the circumstances came about. But I had to make sure. I had to make sure that, just for my own sanity. But since seeing that, I suffer from post-traumatic stress. But campaigns helping. It's helping to get it out. I don't want anybody else to go through what we're going through because it's horrendous. Yeah, and if there's any kids out there, just stay back from water because you don't know what's under the water as well. It's the cold water shock can hit you. If you find yourself in any difficulties while you're in the water, try and float on your back. Try to shout for help, and if there's anybody with them, if it was a friend of theirs that's in the water, please do not go into the water. Please, it doesn't matter if it's a family member or anything, do not go into the water because the two could end up in difficulties. So it's no good going into the water. You have to phone 999 and give them your location. In Scotland, we've got a location board. It's like location numbers above the lifebelt, and you give that location number to the police, and the police can know where you are because they've got it on a board. But if you're out somewhere in the wild or anything like that, just remember what's round about. Try and get a focal point and say, I've come in this way, that's it. And maybe they can find you, but stay on the phone and talk to the person that's in the water. Make sure they float in the back. Just keep talking to them, until help comes.
Yeah.
That's the only advice I can give.
There's a message here from Blank Faces that says, "Thank you for all your hard work," and I think probably we're all going to echo that, because all the hard work and it must be very difficult. I'll be the first to say I cannot imagine what you've been through, and nobody can unless they've been through the same. But your hard work is having an impact to help others. So I'll echo the thank you for your work.
Can I just say something? See kids at school, some kids get swimming lessons in a swimming pool, so they don't understand the difference between the swimming pool and the water. What they should be taught is water safety. They should be took into open water and learning that as well. Learn the dangers, learn what's under the water, learn the currents and how bad the currents could be. They need to be taught this at an early age. And this is where the funding comes in as well, like we says about water safety equipment. Well, I think it should be funded for every kid to have swimming lessons, but taught water safety first instance, while they're having their swimming lessons, and learn how to float in their back. And yeah, that's the most important thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, for if you do see a friend or a family loved one get into difficulty in water, it's not just their life; it's your life as well. Then, and how would you say that they can help, and what they should do when seeing somebody that a friend or a loved one or somebody else in water in difficulty? What should people do?
They shouldn't panic. I know you'll panic, but you shouldn't panic. You should just try and keep calm as possible. Dial 999, any flotation device round about, any water safety equipment, use it. Throw it out to them. And if there's no water safety equipment, try and use an alternative thing. If you find like a big stick or whatever, lengthwise, but don't go in the water. Don't even approach the water. Just don't go at the edge of the water. Just make sure your footing's in solid ground, and just talk to them. Please talk to them, and just get the thing across about floating on their back, and get that across to them. There will be some places that haven't got water safety equipment, but we would love to see everywhere having them, no matter where it is, no matter if it's just a wee bit of water. I don't care. Water safety equipment is number one priority because that helps save lives, and we know it does. Especially you'll know that as well, and you'll be aware of this. throw lines are a good thing as well. I've got one in my car. I keep it in my car now. Throw lines, if there's a throw line available, use that to fling out to the person and make sure they get a hold of it and wrap it around. And yeah, and if there's no, like I says, if there's no water safety equipment, just use an alternative thing, like I says, a branch or whatever. If you can't get that, don't panic. Don't get after them because you're putting yourself at risk. And just keep on the phone. Just keep speaking to the person. Just make sure that try and calm them down, their situation down. Try and speak clearly on the phone. Give them your last location. If there's any signs, give them the number of signs. Or if there's any signs up, it's maybe say someplace, the name of the place. Give them that because that gives them a fighting chance to get to you. And no, my advice would be not to get in the water. Not to be tempted. I know you would be tempted because I know I probably would have. Knowing what I know now, no, I wouldn't do it.
No, you can't rescue somebody if you become a casualty.
No.
And just to be clear, that for a throw line, if you say about wrapping around, that's the person in the water, not the person on the bank.
Sorry.
Because you don't want to be pulled in.
Yeah. It's the person in the water you fling the life belt or the throw line out to. They've got to wrap it around them. You hold the rope in your hand and tell them what to do.
Yeah, and then you can release that for it to prevent you being pulled in case of an emergency.
Just in case they come erratic or anything like that to try to pull, you can let go of it. So yeah, just use the water safety equipment that's there. If there's none, then don't go after them. Just please don't, because you're putting yourself at risk. And that's making 2 casualties in the water. So just stay on the bank or wherever it is you are. Stay back from the water. Just shout at them, talk to them, phone 999, tell them where you are, get help.
Yeah. And you say that you've got a throw line in your car, and we do a lot of throw line demonstrations at Water Safety Days, and people haven't ever experienced throwing a throw line or anything like that. Do you think there should be more training and demonstrations for people to be able to practice throw lines, and where can they do it?
Of course they should be. You should be taught this. I mean, in Glasgow, some of the hotel staff, like concierges and things like that, they're taught how to throw the water, the life rings and the throw lines. They're taught to do that. I think everybody should be taught to do that. I think your local fire and rescue service, I think there should be a training place where people could go. And I think that community centres should have a drop-in session for people to get somebody in there to teach people how to use them properly. That's what I think. I think they should be. It's a priority that everybody gets to know how to use these things.
Yeah. When it comes down to a panic situation, the more experience somebody has, the better they're going to be able to use it. Because in an emergency situation with the panic going on, it's going to be a lot of pressure to try and use a throw line for the first time, and it's something that you can even try and do in your back garden.
That's right. You can set up a wee thing in your garden and just get a throw line. You can get them from as little as £20. As we know, it comes in a pack and a bag. So if you could get that and teach yourself how to do it, just throw it in your garden, see how far you can throw it. Make it into show the kids how to do it. You stand there and let the kids throw it to you and things like that. I think that would help. I think because the more people know about it, the more people can learn about it, the more they can go and tell other people and show other people how to do it. You know, and show your friends how to use it. Just say how to save your life in your future.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do agree with you.
And the importance of it as well, because as I know you do a lot of talks about, and I think you mentioned it earlier, is we see a lot of vandalism of rescue equipment. We're very often seeing life rings thrown into water. We've actually seen in some places signs that say there is no life-saving equipment because of vandalism. So, what would be your message to those who may go vandalise water safety equipment?
Please do not use water safety equipment or vandalise water safety equipment. Only use it in an emergency. It could be one of your family and might need that in the future. And because you've vandalised that and that's not there and they've not put it back, you could lose somebody. They're going to cost somebody their life. This is a horrible, horrible thing that's happening. We've got it in Glasgow, but the new rope that we could put on in Glasgow has the percentage of vandalism has dropped. It's quite significantly. It's dropped. People are getting to know the rope and things like that, but we still get vandalism. We still get like people having a laugh, chucking in life rings with the rope attached just for a laugh. Do you know what I mean? Ain't any laugh. If your pal is in there and you've not got that there, and you've done it the night before, what would make that would make you? Oh, I don't know. What would make you? But I know that myself, I'd be like, oh my god, I've caused somebody nearly enough dying because I've been so stupid. You know, and in Glasgow they're cutting the ropes that fine on the life belts that you can barely, if you're flying out a life ring, a life buoy with the rope attached, you hold one end and toss out. Because of the strain, it's snapping. Do you know what I mean? And that's putting lives at risk. Now we went to Scottish Parliament, we spoke about it in there. When we started up our campaign, we argued that it shouldn't be vandalism. I hate that word because that's not vandalism. That's endangering people's lives. You're putting lives at risk. You're going to cause somebody to die. You know what I mean? And I plead with these people who's doing this to stop. I've lost my son. My son might have had a fighting chance had that life ring had a rope on it, and maybe they had a chance of pulling it back in and flying it back out. I don't know, but I would have loved it to have been there. That's the reason why the ropes weren't on, because of the vandalism. Now we've got ropes, which is good, but they're still vandalising them. And like I says to you, people are doing it for a laugh and saying to their mates, "Well, come on, we'll do this and see how far we can toss it." You know, and it's not kids that's doing this as well. It's not only kids; it's adults that's doing this. And adults have got to take responsibility. Listen, it could be one of your family members, or your friend, or your pal, or whatever, to be in that water. And the night before you flung in the lifebelt and it's not there. Please remember that. Please do not touch it. Please do not uh, do anything to it. Taking that, what we've got in Glasgow is a saying. It's down at Clyde. Taking a lifebelt's taking a life. Simple. Simple warning, taking a life belt is taking a life. You take a life belt, somebody can lose their life. You know, and I plead, and I really do, because it really, really makes me sick. And I'm angry, but I just want everybody who does this to please stop. Please, because we're trying to get laws changed at the moment. We're trying to get from vandalism to endangering lives. Because that's what you're endangering lives. You're putting lives at risk. And you're damaging water safety equipment. So we're trying to get law changed at the moment. We tried previously, but it went to the petition committee to get through to near enough the final bit, then it gets stopped. So we're going to try again, and we need the backing MSPs. That's why I go to the Holyrood. That's why I go to the Parliament to speak, to try and get this, because people really, they're going to cause somebody to lose their life, and they maybe have to live with that. Do you know what I mean? They might think the next day it's like, there's uni students who take the lifelines, take them home with them. What's all that about? And hang them up in their wall and think it's allowed to have it in their house. No, it's not. You've took that lifeline. That's there to save people's lives. We had an instance in Glasgow that one of the lifebelts from Glasgow ended up in the train. I think it was going up to Dundee, and nobody tackled that person. He walked through the train station with this lifebelt, went on the train, left it on the train, and thought it was off. Do you know what I mean? So it's horrendous. So I say to these people, please do not touch it, not unless it's an emergency. Please, please be sensible around water and think about the water safety equipment, what it's there for and what it means. That's there to save people's lives, gives people a fighting chance. I mean, the ropes have saved 10 people's lives. So what happens if the ropes were vandalised? Who knows? Would
Yeah.
that person still be here? I don't know. I
Yeah.
think not. You know, that's what we've got to get through to these people. And yeah, it's sad. It hurts us as a family. It hurts us as losing somebody because of the mistakes that was made in the past. The vandalism that was made in the past.
Yeah.
Now, thanks to Glasgow City Council, we've got the ropes on. They replace them when the ropes get vandalised. So we are happy at that, but we're still unhappy with people touching it and vandalism.
Definitely.
So,
And with Christmas approaching, and we've touched a bit on it earlier as well, but we'll cover it again with Christmas approaching. Lots of workplace nights out, lots of university nights out. Everybody going out and enjoying themselves, and rightly so. But what should they remember, and how should they keep themselves and their friends and family safe on a night out?
stay safe around water, take an alternative route, make sure that you're all together, and make sure if there's a person going home alone, like I said earlier on, make sure that you phone them, make sure that just don't carry on around water, don't even show off, look what I can do. Somebody could lose their life quite easily, and just enjoy yourself. We're not anti-water in any shape or form. We like water just as much as the next person does. But we teach safety. We just wanted people being safe, you know, and we say to these people, please be safe around water. Please think. I know that there's drink and things like that involved, but make sure that you all stick together. That's a priority, is stick together. Make sure you've got a buddy system. Whereas if two you stay in the same place, make sure you walk together. Make sure you take an alternative route away from the water if you can. Just don't carry on around water and be safe. With Christmas coming up, party time, and things like that, that heightens my awareness. Not that my awareness is heightened all year round because of what happened to Christopher, but especially around about Christmas time and New Year time, round about that time as well. And just please do not carry on around water. Just do not. And it might sound like a good idea at the time. You just don't do it. It's not
No.
worth it.
Make the night a night to remember rather than
A night
a
not
night.
to remember.
Yeah.
Make a
Yeah.
night to remember, like you says, and not one that you'll regret.
Yeah. And as I say, we have a lot of followers in Scotland, and you're based in Scotland. Is there a way that people can help support your campaign?
Yeah, if they go into Christopher Saving Lives campaign, they support the campaign there. And like I says, we're self-funded, so we don't get any funding or anything like that. All the money comes from, we generate the money comes from. We have had the odd donation. We had somebody run a marathon and gave us £500 for water safety equipment. So we bought water safety equipment. And because we were, the person that done it thought we were a good cause. So that's the reason why we got the money. Just support our campaign, put the message out there about Christopher Saving Lives campaign. Let everybody know what we're doing, make them aware, let them know where the ropes come from, talk about the campaign, and please get in touch if there's anything you need to know or anything you want to ask. Come to Christopher Saving Lives campaign. It's on Facebook page. We've got a Facebook page up for Christopher. All the details are there, what we do and what we've done. And just generally just try and come and have a chat if you want. That's all I can say. That's all I can ask.
Definitely. Now, I can, as I say, I cannot imagine the strength of and what families go through who have lost somebody, and the strength it must take to go and talk about what you went through all the time. So I want to thank you very much for doing that with us, and the emotion is very clear, and I think that will resonate with people a lot. We can sit and talk about statistics and water safety all day, but the emotions, I think, will definitely resonate with people. So I want to say thank you very much for coming and talking about us, about Christopher, and talking with us today. And is there anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'd just like to say Christopher was a fun guy. He was always up for fun. He was always one who made the effort and always made sure everybody was happy. When he was working, he was a manager in a shop. He always made sure that his shop staff were fine, made sure they got home okay, and he would take them out for nights out for the staff, having staff nights out for them and things like that. He would get a bonus at the end of the month if the shop was doing well. So what he done was, rather than keep it to himself, he would take his staff out, or if a member of staff needed some financial assistance, he'd give them money as well. You know, he was just a genuine person. You know, and it's such a loss to the family, and I don't want anybody else to sit and to go through what we're going through, not looking forward to Christmas at all. Birthdays, you kind of think that he's not here. Big birthdays, like his brother had turned 40 in August there, so we missed him. You know, we missed him badly because he couldn't celebrate that. Couldn't celebrate his own 40th. And things like watching our grandkids grow up. I mean, they were little when he died. The oldest one's 22 now. She misses him. We all miss him. We always talk about Christopher. We keep his memory alive. And I just want to say to everybody, we're doing this not just for ourselves, we're doing this for other ones that can't do it. I wouldn't say the strength, because that's not right. Just can't do it. We're here doing it on their behalf as well. So we're doing it not just for us, but we're doing it for other ones. It's lost loved ones to water safety. And the final message is, please stay safe next to water.
Definitely. 100%. So thank you, Duncan, for joining us
Thank
and for the work you do. And if anybody wants to get in touch with Duncan and Christopher Saving Lives campaign, who are based in Glasgow on the Clyde, but are branching out over Scotland, and I'm pretty sure that Duncan would be willing to speak to anybody who's wanting to ask his advice, no matter where you are in the country or the world or anything. So we have shared Christopher's Saving Lives campaign Facebook on our Facebook. We will post it in the comments. So I want to say a big thank you yet again to Duncan for coming and talking to us, and to everybody for watching live and for watching on catch up. So thank you all very much, and thank you, Duncan.
Thank you, Phil, for having us. I mean, thank you for letting us get our story out there. I think it needs to be heard, and yeah, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll let you get off for a rest, and you've done great, and thank you for
thank you.
joining us.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much. God bless.
Good night,
Take care.
everybody. Good night,
Stay
Duncan.
safe. Night.
Good night.
Bye.